Thanks. So who likes PvP?
I like
No,
PvP.
no. You like PvP? That wasn't loud enough. Who likes PvP? Blizzcon high five for PvP. I just high five Blizzcon. That's kind of awesome. Yeah.
Well
Okay,
done, sir.
so I guess I better talk about PvP now. As a lot of you might know, last year we had Arena on the floor. This year, playable, we have Team Deathmatch. We got a lot of awesome feedback from you guys, from the community, from last year's showing of the Arena, and one of the dominant forms of feedback that we got was that sitting around and waiting while my friends kill each other really isn't fun. So we're introducing Team Deathmatch. Team Deathmatch really solves that problem. You die, you're back in 3 seconds. You're back in the fight, you're fighting, you're able to like play with your character more, you're able to explore more. There's not the intimidation factor in Team Deathmatch either of like, wow, am I gonna let my like arena team down by coming in with this crazy magic, wizard build that only spawns like mirror images and that's all I do? No, it's totally cool. So Team Deathmatch, the game is 10 minutes games. There's 2 teams, red and blue. At the end of the game, the team with the most kills wins. There's definitely no skill swapping during games. There's also no item swapping during games. We want there to be like still some tactical advantage to understanding, hey, that barb over there is running up and like stunning like the heck out of me the entire time. I need to know that the entire 10 minutes of the game so I can actually effectively deal with that and respond. It's definitely going to be 4v4. Last year it was 3v3. Stepped it up. 4v4 is way more fun for responsiveness and the interactivity. You're definitely going to be using your PvE character. There was some confusion about this, but you're definitely going to be like leveling up to 60, taking your character, your wizard or your witch doctor that you've been focusing on and getting to Inferno in, bringing them into PvP, and then experiencing them in PvP and seeing how they play out. And hey, go play it. We have it on the showroom floor. You're our community. We make these games for you. We love your feedback. It is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the auction house. I hope you guys like UI because there's a wall of it coming at you. All right, so why an auction house? Well, one of the major things and reasons that we decided to do an auction house is because trading is a big focus of the Diablo games. So some of you might know that you get loot in Diablo games and it's kind of a big deal. That loot is randomized. The Diablo system is pretty unique in that everything that drops is got some kind of random element if it's something that you wear on your body. And any monster could drop any item in the world. You don't have to go to a particular monster and do that. But because of that, there's actually really, really low odds that you get the exact thing you want. Even if you get the exact thing you want, the chances that it actually has the best stats that you could possibly get on that item is pretty much, it's almost impossible. And that's really by design. Because Diablo's always been a social game in the sense that you play with and trade with other players. So trading is really the best way to get the best items in the game, and that's always been the case for all the Diablo games. We've focused really heavily on the trading aspect. So given that, you'd think that the previous games would have awesome systems for trading, and if you think that, you'd be wrong. So in Diablo 2, there were a bunch of ways you could trade. There was an in-game interface where you could kind of put items up and you'd stick your item up and somebody else, and you'd say, well, what do you got? And hopefully it had something good that you wanted. You could throw items on the ground and pray. I wouldn't recommend that. You could go up and post in the chat channels or forums, hoping that someone is listening who has the thing you want or wants to buy the thing you have. It's pretty inefficient and it makes the chat channels not really very chatty. And then you could also go to like third-party websites and buy things with real money. And that works fine, except that maybe the transaction wouldn't work, maybe you get ripped off, maybe someone would steal your account. So, none of those are really great experiences, and we felt that we could do a lot better. So we focused on an auction house because it's really a very well-known, convenient, secure, easy way for people to trade. There's things like the WoW auction house, there's eBay. People understand an auction house, they understand how it works and how to interact with it. So we made the decision to allow players to trade in Diablo 3 the same way that they traded in Diablo 2, with gold or real money. So we're going to let you pretty much trade almost anything in the auction house. If a wearable item, gold, stackable components like crafting items and things like that. So, and this is one of the most important points. We want you to be able to participate for free if you go into the real money auction house. A lot of people have said to us, you know, I don't necessarily have a problem with, you know, the real money or not. I just don't want to open up my wallet. I don't want to give you a credit card. And you know what? That's fine. You don't have to, and I'm going to explain how. This is Timmy the Demon Hunter. Why is he Timmy? Because it amuses me to call a Demon Hunter Timmy. So Timmy needs a new bow. That'd be nice. That bow would be pretty awesome. Venom Husk. Got a lot of blue little statty things on there. We like those. So he goes off in the world seeking his fortune. But does he find it? Nope. Instead, he finds this thing. Wow. 566 DPS, two-hander. Not for him. If he had a barbarian or a barbarian friend, that'd be a pretty good item, but, well, we're going to pretend that Timmy doesn't have any friends because he named his Demon Hunter Timmy. I mean, come on. But he's still happy. He got this really awesome thing, but he wants his Venom Husk. So he's going to go up on the auction house, and he's going to post this up, and he's going to post it up on the Real Money auction house. Now, the important thing is here, he can do this for free, because every week we're going to allow people to have a small number of free listings. And one of the reasons for that is we want you to be able to generate some income and get a balance without actually having to spend any money. So he puts his Overfiend up there. It sells. Bong. $7.50 in his account. Now, he could have output that to a PayPal account and made $7.50 playing Diablo, which is pretty awesome. Or he can do what he did, which is put it directly into his e-balance, and now he can use that to go back on the auction house and buy things and post more auctions. So Timmy is happy. He goes up, he finds his Venom Husk, $5. Bam. Purchased. Sent to his character, and equipped. Check him out. So on top of being able to participate in that way, we also are going to add a lot of features. Some of you are in the beta and you've managed to play with the gold auction house, and you've probably noticed that it's not really as fully featured as we'd like. So we are adding a bunch of new features. The first one is a smart search feature. And basically what this does is it takes any character that you want, it'll look at the character and say, okay, you seem to be a barbarian who likes a lot of crit. So we're going to point you at items that do that. And then you can kind of funnel the results and say, these are all the items I want, but I really want precision, I really want lifesteal, so just show me the ones that have those affixes on them. So another thing we've done is we're going to add an advanced search, which really is kind of a bigger version of the smart search. It lets you basically just set all kinds of parameters, pretty much anything that you can literally specify the exact item stats that you want to see. And features like this are really important because the Diablo item system is not filled with a lot of named items that are easy to search for. You're really going to be searching more for stats. So next, we are going to let you sell stackable items. It's currently not supported, but it will. That's gold, gems, crafting dyes, tomes, books, all those types of things. Almost everything that is worth selling, pretty much everything that's worth selling, we're going to allow you to sell in the auction house. All right.
Let's talk about game tuning for a little while. We're getting ready to finalize a lot of the game components, particularly the difficulty in the classes and the monsters. We're making a lot of improvements to the monsters. I'm going to be talking a lot about changes that we've made since the beta, as well as changes that we've made since last year's Blizzcon. For those of you who don't know, a lot of the content for killing monsters in Diablo is based around rares and champions, and they have magical properties like Electrified or Plagued, Teleporter, Desecrator. We have a couple of new affixes that we've been putting into the game over the last few weeks. One of those new ones is actually on display in the video over here. It's called Mortar. Mortar is, the monster has the ability to lob these grenades. We felt like a lot of the affixes that are currently in there penalize melee much more than ranged, things like Electrified and Plague. So Mortar actually shoots grenades a minimum distance. So if you're, let me go back on that. If you're a melee character, the grenades will actually fly right over your head. Moving on to some passive skills, we're going to talk about the classes. A lot of the focus has been on making passives good. We've had feedback that some of the passives are interesting, but some of them aren't so interesting. Some of the classes don't all seem to have equally interesting number of passives. Here's one of the new passives that we've got for the Barbarian. One of the things about passives is they actually serve a number of purposes. Some people want passives that support specific builds. Some people want passives that introduce cool new visual elements. In this case, we felt that it was important for a Barbarian to be able to have a defensive build option, and we also felt that it might be instructional for players who aren't sure if a Barbarian could be built in a tanky sort of way, so we have this new passive, Nerves of Steel, to help support that playstyle. Some of our other passives, this one's on the Witch Doctor, Fetish Sycophants. It summons one of the little fetish helpers to fight along your side, and this happens anytime you cast a physical skill. It's things like Poison Dart or Plague of Toads, 3% chance in every cast. So that's a really popular passive internally as well. Another passive I have here is Combination Strike. So if you guys remember the Spirit Generators, this one's a monk skill. In the past we've called them combo skills. Combo skills, Spirit Generators, sort of interchangeable. In this case, if you use multiple different Spirit Generators together, you get a DPS increase. And the more Spirit Generators you combine together, the larger the increase. I'm going to go through some of the classes now and talk about them. Oh, sorry, one more thing. Synergy. So this is an interesting thing that's come up over the last few months as we've been tuning passives, is the situation where you have too much synergy can actually be bad. So the example that we have on the board, up on the PowerPoint, is counterattack. Whenever you dodge, you automatically damage your attacker. Sixth Sense, which gives you increased chance to dodge, and evasive, which gives you an increased chance to dodge every time you critical strike. Each one of these passives is pretty cool on its own, but when you put them all together, we felt like it was actually taking away build diversity rather than increasing it. Because as soon as you took one passive, you had a synergistic advantage for taking a second one, and then the third one. And if we give you 3 passives to choose from out of 15, we're actually pigeonholing players rather than allowing them to explore. So we've been seeking out these sorts of overly synergistic passives and removing them. Talk about the Barbarian. So for those of you who've played the Barbarian in the beta, Barbarian we feel like is in a pretty good place. He's fun, he's visceral, he's doing a lot of things that we want to do. A couple specific areas that we wanted to target. One was Fury Generation. He has a couple of Fury Generator skills, and we felt like his small, spammable generators weren't paying off as well as his big generators. So for example, players were using Leap Attack, Ground Stomp, Warcry, and skipping some of the Fury Generators like Cleave and Frenzy and Bash. So we've kind of adjusted those numbers a little bit to try and provide a better balance there. Another area that we've been looking at is survivability. You didn't see it so much during the level 1 to 12 game, but as you started to get into higher difficulties, Nightmare, Hell, Inferno, we really found that Barbarians were having trouble staying in melee. The Barbarians need to be in melee range to do damage, and without the survivability, they just weren't able to do that. So we've been looking at survivability, like I said, the passive earlier on. We've been also looking at the Barbarians' base stats, and just looking to kind of make them a little tougher overall. The Wizard, also in a good place. For those of you, again, who've been following along, we have a set of skills that were called academic skills. We've renamed those to signature skills. It's the same idea. Basically, as you level up, the skills become cheaper. Eventually, they become free. We really like how that's playing out. Overall, the Wizard's feeling pretty good. One of the areas that is a concern for us is whether or not it is worthwhile to use a signature spell when you're out of arcane power, and whether or not it's worth using a non-signature spell to spend your arcane power. So we've been tweaking those numbers to make sure players feel like they actually have different reasons to use different spells. And finally, one of the major changes that we've been making is all of the Wizard and Witch Doctor spells have been converted over to do % weapon damage. A major reason for this is we really felt that the casters needed to value their weapon more. People were finding weapons and looking at it and saying, well, I don't really care about the stats on this sword because my skills don't use it. So it's all based on weapon damage. One of the questions we get all the time is, well, then should my wizard just use a giant two-handed mace? Because I don't want to hold a two-handed mace. Well, in addition to being based on weapon damage, we also use the weapon's speed to determine your casting speed. So if you use like a wand or a fast dagger, then you'll actually cast faster as well.